Hello, everyone, and welcome to this brand new show. I'm your host, Austin Moses. This is Sporting It All, and this show is going to be specifically sports. This whole channel, of course, is all sports. And I know when you watch ESPN or NBC or Fox, you get politics in your sports, and a lot of people really despise that. I know when I'm watching Sports Center and they start talking about players kneeling or Donald Trump or something stupid, I don't want to watch it. So this show is going to stay away from all of that, or this podcast rather, whatever you would like to call it. Um, I'm just going to. This show is just going to be talking about subjects. I'm going to go from one to the other. Going to be pretty organized. I'm not just going to be talking all over the place. My main focuses, of course, are football, baseball, hockey, and basketball, the four major North American sports. So, this episode, I'm going to be talking about four things mainly. I'm going to be talking about this past week in the NFL. I'm going to be talking about the NBA standings and what I think is going to happen come playoff time. Same thing with the NHL. And then I'm going to discuss that huge Giancarlo Stanton trade between the Marlins and the Yankees and my opinion on that and how crazy it is. So I'm just going to kick right off. I'm going to start with Week 14 in the NFL, which I thought was a very important week. Of course, we had a couple division games. Saints Falcons, that was a huge game. Falcons winning that game 20-17 on Thursday Night Football to keep their playoff hopes alive. We had the Chiefs and Raiders in Kansas City. Chiefs winning that game 26-15. Excuse me. We had the Packers, Browns. Browns almost pulling off their first win of the season, but the Packers keeping their playoff hopes alive, beating the Browns 27-21 in overtime. We had the Lions defeating the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay 24-21. Panthers over the Vikings 31-24 in Carolina. 49ers picking up their second win. They are 2-0 with Jimmy Garoppolo beating a weak Texans team. So I love Jimmy G as a Boston sports fan. I love Garoppolo. I'm upset that the Patriots got rid of him. I think he could have been a great quarterback when Brady retired, which is a couple years down the road. But I think he can do good things in San Francisco. I'm not too sure he is going to flip this franchise. I don't think they're going to be a 10-win team next year. They've played a couple bad teams and they've gotten a couple nice wins. He's a lot better than their prior quarterbacks though. So San Francisco got some hope. So they beat the Texans 26-16 like I said. Bills winning that very snowy game over in Buffalo against Colts 13-7. Bears over the Bengals. The Bengals. The Bengals. When are they going to fire Marvin Lewis? I'm going to say at the end of this year. I think he's going to get fired, finally. I think it's long overdue, and I think he's gone. So the Bears win that one 33-7 in Cincinnati. Cowboys over the Giants 30-10. So firing Ben McAdoo, that didn't really help at all, did it? Eli Manning was back at the start, but Cowboys, who I don't think are going to make the playoffs. I think the Cowboys are not good enough. And even if they do make the playoffs, I think they're going to be bounced down the first week. I think last year was just a big, hyped up, kind of a fluke year. And we saw it when, they got beat by, what was it, Green Bay? I'm pretty sure it was Green Bay. Yeah, it was Green Bay, sorry. Then we had the Cardinals beating the Titans, kind of a game that doesn't really matter, 12-7. Kind of a boring game if you look at that. Broncos shutting out the Jets in Denver 23-0. Chargers over their Skins 30-13. A big win for the Chargers, keeping pace with the Chiefs. I'm going to get into that AFC West matchup. Or not matchup, but the AFC West race, rather. Jaguars, a huge win over the Seattle Seahawks, who were looking like a pretty good team. They had a great win against the Eagles last week, but something happened this week. Jaguars are just too much for them, I guess. I'm kind of shocked by that win. Jaguars are a good team, but really thought Seattle would, after they beat Philly, have this one easily. Jeez, that was not English. Eagles beating the Rams 43 to 35. Carson Wentz is injured. I'm not sure on the details. I've been looking, and here it is. Just look this up. I've been working all day, so I haven't really been able to get into this. But here we go. Carson Wentz has torn his ACL. Wow, that's 2 hours ago on ESPN.com. We'll miss the rest of the season. Can I just real quick before I give you the rest of the scores from yesterday? This year for the NFL, we have seen Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt, many others. A lot of big names go down. Now it's Carson Wentz, who is having an MVP caliber season, and because of this, Tom Brady will win the MVP. I have no doubt. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks lost to the Jaguars. If the Patriots go and they go 14-2, if they win out and Brady keeps playing how he's playing, I mean, they play the Dolphins tonight, but I mean, that's an easy win. So they beat the Steelers next week, they're for sure going to win out. And now that Carson Wentz is gone, out for the season, torn ACL, I mean, I don't know what plague is going through the NFL. I don't know what's going on, but everyone's getting hurt. All the big names. I'm surprised Brady hasn't gone down, knock on wood. This is, I'm going to love seeing Tom win the MVP, but, I would have loved seeing Carson Wentz win. I mean, yes, I'm a New England Patriots fan. I don't care. Carson Wentz is one of the best, probably maybe even the best quarterback right now. I mean, he was having an amazing year. The Eagles were able to pick up the win without him, but come playoff time, this team is not going to be the team they've been all season. They are not going to be that team. They are going to, I mean, if they get out of the first round, wow. Well, that's the first time I'm reading that. I've been working all day. I haven't been able to get any updates on Carson Wentz, and that's the first thing I saw of him. So Eagles did beat the Rams, but no Carson Wentz. That's a huge injury. Probably should have looked that up before I started this. But anywho, Ravens losing to the Steelers in a thriller. The Steelers coming back and winning by a point, 39-38, to keep pace with the Patriots, who now need to win tonight, but they're playing Miami. It's in Miami. I don't think that really matters. They played them 2 weeks ago, and Dolphins had no chance. So then, of course, like I said, we got the Patriots-Dolphins tonight, 8:30 Monday Night Football game. So kind of a weird week when you look at the Vikings losing. Yes, the Panthers are good, but I really didn't expect them to beat the Vikings. Jets getting blown out by the Broncos. Besides that, I mean, teams who should have won. I mean, the Seahawks losing, that was a big one too, but teams who should have won. I mean, the Saints losing by 3. The offense didn't come out like it's been all season. That kind of disappointed me, but Falcons win 2017, and that's a huge win that keeps them in the race for a playoff spot. I mean, they're just fighting for a playoff spot right now. I think that moves them to 8-5, I believe. Yeah, 8-5. So as we look at the standings right now, we have the Patriots, the Chiefs, Steelers, Jaguars, Eagles, Rams, Vikings, and Saints as your division leaders. And as we look at the playoff picture here, Ravens, Titans, Falcons, Panthers. Those teams, excuse me, those teams holding on to playoff spots. Those are all the teams besides the division leaders, and I'm going to throw out some predictions here. I think for the most part, what you see now is what you're getting in the playoffs. What you see is what you're getting, except for one, and that is the Ravens. The Ravens will not be in the playoffs, and here's why. They are probably the most inconsistent team. They go out 1 week, they'll score 40 points on you. They go out the next week, and they can't even put anything up on the board. Their defense is the same. Their defense will go and they will shut down someone. The next week comes around, they can't stop a basic run up the middle. So I think the Ravens are going to be the team that goes out. I think right now the Chiefs, they own that tiebreaker against the Chargers. So if anyone's going to win that division, it's looking like it's going to be the Chiefs. They have the advantage there. But I think the Chargers can get into that playoff spot where the Ravens sit at right now. They just got to hope Ravens lose a game. I think teams that are, done for. I'm going to start with the AFC. They're not mathematically done, but let's face it, they're done. The Texans, the Bengals, the Jets, Dolphins, Raiders, I think they are all done. The Raiders, they have a tough schedule. They've been probably the most disappointing team this season. Very disappointed. The Raiders, I love Derek Carr. I mean, you got Marshawn Lynch, who was hyped coming in this year. I didn't think he was going to do great, but I thought he was going to do better than he's done. The defense is the worst defense I've seen. It's ridiculously terrible. Then we got the Chargers and Bills. So it's gonna be a race between the Chargers, Bills, and Ravens. Ravens owning that tiebreaker against both those teams. They are all three of those teams 7-6. I think the Chiefs, Titans, and Jaguars, those are locks for me, and of course the Steelers and Patriots up at 1-2. But let's talk about Sunday Night Football last night. Okay, Steelers were supposed to lose that game. Okay, Ravens had them beat. Ravens choked. Their defense just gave up. It looked like, and the Steelers won the football game. If the Steelers lose that game, okay, that puts them at 10-3, and the Jaguars at 9-4, only a game back. Then the Steelers have to go play New England. They lose that game. Jaguars win. Jaguars own the tiebreaker, and just like that, the Jaguars are the first seed in the AFC, or second seed right behind New England. Steelers lose last night. They're back in third place. They have to play the wild card round. That game, you look at it now, the most important game on their schedule besides this one upcoming against New England. And the game against New England, I believe, is it in Pittsburgh? I believe it's in Pittsburgh. We'll look at week 15 here. Yes, it is in Pittsburgh. So they got that home field advantage. I don't think with this matchup, Patriots-Steelers, I don't think it really matters who has home field. I was just curious. But, again, like, they lose last night. They're in deep doo-doo when it comes to getting that first seed. They lose last night, and there's a possibility that they're in the wild card round. I mean, in this season, it's just been weird to me. I mean, the Jaguars, they weren't supposed to be 9-4, and their spot should have been the Raiders. Titans, I thought were going to be good, but I didn't think they were going to be playoff good. I thought maybe a Cincinnati would squeeze in there, but Cincinnati once again having a disappointing season. Once again, another season to show you that Marvin Lewis should be fired. And I think Andy Dalton, his time's up. I think he's going to either get traded or he's just going to stay there and keep doing what he's doing. But I think if a coaching change can really help, can really give this team a chance to get back into the playoffs. But who knows? Who knows what that what the Bengals are going to do there? Over in the NFC. The NFC's interesting because you have the Falcons and the Seahawks, both at 8-5. You have the Falcons trying to get the first seed in their division. I mean, they're only a game behind the Panthers and Saints. Saints own the tiebreaker. They are the number one seed in the NFC South. And I think it's going to stay that way. I think, I said at the beginning of the season, of course, this show wasn't going on at the beginning of the season, but at the beginning of the season, I said the Saints were going to have a shot. I said they're going to make the playoffs, and I think they have a chance at the NFC South. And look where they are, first place in the NFC South. I didn't think the Panthers would be as good as they are. I thought it was going to be Saints 1, Falcons 2, maybe Bucks and Panthers tied at 3, but the Buccaneers, of course, terrible. I don't know what went wrong after, a solid season last year. It looked like this season they were going to come out and they were going to battle for that one seed, or at least attempt to, maybe get into the wild card and, see what they could do in the playoffs, but they have just been awful. I don't know what went wrong in Tampa. I don't know what famous Jameis is doing. I don't know what the coaching staff is doing, but it's not working, and there's going to be some changes down in Tampa Bay this offseason. I can tell you that right now. But, like I was saying, NFC, pretty interesting. I think, not having the Seahawks in the playoffs is just insane. Falcons own the tiebreaker on them, so the Seahawks, they really need to win out and hope the Falcons lose a game. Because right now, all the Falcons have to do is win their games. They don't have to rely on anyone else. The Falcons win their games, they are in the playoffs. Seahawks are out. Unless the Rams fall apart and lose a couple games, it's going to be tough for the Seahawks to get in. Seahawks have to win out and hope the Falcons lose. So, and like I said, unless it's the Rams, because I don't see the Panthers or the Saints. The most likely team to kind of just choke at the end of this season is the Rams in these last 3 weeks here. But to me, I think their offense is too good for that to happen. I think they can put up, 35, 40 points a game, and, no one's going to stand a chance no matter how good they do on the other side of the ball. So, right now, I'm going to say that things stay the same in the NFC. Eagles, Vikings, Panthers, Saints, Rams, Falcons. I think if anything's going to change, it's going to be the Falcons who get booted out of the playoffs, and the Seahawks take that spot. But I don't know. I think it's really close. The Packers are trying to stay alive. The Packers need to win out, and they need Atlanta and Seattle to lose some games. So, but the Lions, I think they've been disappointing. They had a nice start to the season, went 2-1, should have been 3-0. That loss to the Falcons really killed them. They should have beaten Atlanta in that game. He was down by half a yard, and it was disappointing. But I think the Cowboys are done. Just like I said, the Saints would be in. I said the Cowboys would be gone. I said I did not think the Cowboys would make the playoffs, and look what's happened. Cowboys are sitting down there at 7-6. Ooh, we beat the Giants. I don't care. Ezekiel Elliott, you should have taken your suspension earlier because clearly your team can't play without you. And I think even if he was there, they'd have the same stupid record. Cowboys, I'm sorry, you got no chance. You're out. Cowboys, Cardinals, Lions, I think you're done. The only two teams there that have a chance are the Seahawks and the Packers. And even the Packers, you could say, are done. But I think they got some fight in them. They got something there. So you don't know what Seattle or Atlanta, if they're going to hold their end of the bargain when it comes to winning football games. So I think if any of those teams besides Seattle has a chance, it is Green Bay. So that's my take on the NFL right now. And I'm going to look at next week, and give you my predictions for next week's football games. Here we go. I will write these down at some point, and I will come back next week and see how well I did on these predictions. So, first game we isn't Thursday Night Football a joke? Huh? Isn't it just such a joke? The first game of the week is Broncos-Colts. Are you kidding me? Even if Andrew Luck is healthy, Broncos-Colts? People were saying through 3 weeks when the Broncos were 3-0, they were like, oh, this is the best team in the NFL. Wow, they're playing some great football. And I'm sitting on my couch, I'm watching everyone say this. And I'm like, no. This team is gonna be one of the worst teams by the end of the year. And look where they're at. What are they, 4-9? They beat the Jets yesterday. Hoo-hoo, good for you. You shut them out, which is kind of impressive. But you're known for your defense. And you saw they're not very known for their offense. They only put up 23 points against a Jets defense isn't very good. So they had a cheap win yesterday. Cheap win. So Broncos Colts Thursday Night Football. The most exciting thing about that game is what are their jerseys going to look like. I like the color rush jerseys, but I think they should do the Thursday Night Football tradition on Saturdays. I think there should be Saturday Night Football traditions. That's how it should go. So Broncos Colts. Just to make a prediction, I'm just going to go with the home team. I'm going to say Colts win. We got Bears Lions Saturday football. We got some Saturday games coming up this week. We got Bears Lions. I'll go with the Lions. Keep their playoff hopes alive. But again, I don't think they're going to get in. Chargers Chiefs, big matchup. The winner of this game wins the division. It's in Kansas City. Again, they got the home field advantage late in the season. They had it last week against the Raiders. I like the scheduling. I think it's a good test for the Chargers. Can you go into Kansas City and take what's yours? Take that division spot. You were 0-4. Now you're fighting. You're fighting for a division win. So I'm going to say the Chargers in a sort of upset win this game. It's going to be close. It's going to be a score or less. But I think the Chargers can win this game. So I'm picking the Chargers. Eagles Giants. Eagles with the easy win despite Carson Wentz being out. The Giants are just terrible, and I never pick them ever. Bengals Vikings. The Vikings, of course. Ravens Browns. Browns will go to 0-14. Sorry, Cleveland fans. Cardinals Redskins. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. They're going to try and keep their playoff hopes alive, but again, I think they're done as well. Packers, Panthers. Panthers, of course. Jets, Saints. The Saints, they need to keep pace with the Panthers. Dolphins, Bills. Game that doesn't matter. I'll go with the Bills, I guess. They're home. Texans, Jaguars. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. A lot stronger team than the Texans. They got their best offensive player, Deshaun Watson, and their best defensive player, J.J. Watt, both injured. So, got to go with the Jaguars. Rams, Seahawks, big NFC West. I couldn't think of it, sorry. Big NFC West matchup. And if the Seahawks lose this game, they are virtually out of the playoffs. Seahawks lose this game, even if the Falcons lose, because the Falcons have the tiebreak, if the Seahawks lose this game, that's really it for them. So Seahawks, they know this is a must-win game. Must-win game. They know it. Everyone knows it. It's a must-win game. This will make the division all tied up. But I think the Rams are going to get the job done. Rams win by a 2-score final. I think they'll win by at least 10 points. In Seattle. 4 o'clock game on Sunday. Titans 49ers. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say Jimmy G gets another win for the San Fran 49ers. Think they're going to win in a close contest, but they're home. They got Garoppolo. I think they can get the win. And the Titans aren't that great of a team. We got the Cowboys and Raiders. I'm going to pick the Raiders, even though it's not looking good for them. But I think the Cowboys are trash, and I have no hope for really either of these teams. But I'm just going to go with the Raiders, because why not? Falcons, Buccaneers, I think that's an easy win for the Falcons. So if they win and Seattle loses, that's it. Seattle's gone. Seattle's not making the playoffs. We got the Patriots. We got the Steelers. Game of the week right there. My eyes are going to be watching that game very, very closely, see how well everyone does, not just the scoreboard. I want to see who steps up. I want to see who does what, who makes the big plays. I want to see MVP caliber Tom Brady, which we're probably going to see because we see it almost every week. But with that said, this is going to be a very, very difficult game for the New England Patriots. I have hope, but I know it's going to be very, very challenging. I'm going to say they sneak by with a game-winning drive field goal or something. It's not going to be a blowout on either side. I am going to pick the Patriots. I really, really hope they win. But I'm not picking them just because I'm a Patriots fan. And everyone will be like, oh, you like the Patriots. I mean, no, I'm picking them because I just think they're the better team. I mean, they are the team to beat in the National Football League. This game matters a lot because this is home field throughout the playoffs. You win this game, and then you probably face this same team again later, but this time it's at your house. You don't want to lose this game, face this same team in the NFC Championship, and everyone's saying, oh, well, Steelers beat you in Pittsburgh last time. They're going to do it again the same way. No, you need to win this game if you're New England. This game means more to New England than it does to Pittsburgh. It means a lot to both, but because this is in Pittsburgh, it means a lot to New England. They want to go back home. They want to play in the playoffs. They want to beat Pittsburgh at their house in the AFC Championship because it looks like this is going to be the AFC Championship unless the Jaguars pull up an upset, which I would love to see. So those are my picks for this week, and that's about it for the football aspect. of this episode. I'm really excited for next week in football. I'm also excited for tonight's game. Patriots are obviously going to win that game. But let's move on to things NHL. We're going to skip over to hockey and check out what's going on. I'm not going to spend too much time on hockey because hockey I don't really pay close attention to until close to the last few weeks when it's getting down to the wire, teams need to win. Hockey is a grinding sport. Hockey is a sport where you need to grind for wins. It is probably the hardest sport for individuals to play, in my opinion. Right now, I really, really like what the Lightning are doing. I think the Lightning are a real threat for the Stanley Cup. They threaten Pittsburgh, who right now are playing not great. Not terrible, but not great. They're 16, 12, and 3, while the Lightning are sitting up at 21, 6, and 2. Pittsburgh is my pick for the Stanley Cup as of right now. And who can challenge them, really? Pittsburgh's going to challenge them, but, we know the Capitals are a choking team. I don't think they're ever going to, get to the Stanley Cup. Blue Jackets, I don't think they haven't had the experience. I don't think they can play well in the playoffs yet. And besides that, I don't know. You got a young team in Toronto that can probably put up a good fight, but the Lightning just look so good right now. So good. So Lightning are my pick right now. But who will they face in the Stanley Cup? Who's the best team in the Western Conference? Look at who we got. We got the Blues at 21, 8, and 2. Really a shock to me as to how they're doing so well. I didn't think they'd do bad, but they're doing so well. And we got the Kings at 28 and 3. Those are your two division leaders. But let's take a dive into the conference itself. Who are some teams that can threaten those top two, the Blues and the Kings? Obviously the Blackhawks. Yes, they are 14, 11, and 5. The Blackhawks are a sub 500 team. If it was just wins and losses, they've lost 16 games. Okay, but we know how well the Blackhawks do. They've had a rough start, but that's a good team. They can challenge. Same with the Predators. We saw them shockingly get to the finals last year. And in the Pacific Division, I'm looking right now. Top 3 is Kings, Knights, Sharks. The Golden Knights shocking everyone. They're 19, 9, and 1. They got 39 points. They're tied for what? 3rd in the conference? But I don't think they're going to do anything in the playoffs. I think they're going to get booted out in the first round. I don't care who they play. So, Oilers really just terrible year so far. 12, 16, and 2. So right now, I think my pick for the Stanley Cup, it's definitely the Lightning. Lightning are definitely the best team in the league right now. And to challenge them in the West, it's either going to be Nashville, St. Louis, or LA. I think the Blackhawks are going to try. I think they're going to fight. They're going to claw their way into the Western Conference Finals. But I don't see them getting into the finals. I think it is going to be St. Louis, Nashville, or LA. I think the Lightning are way ahead of everybody, and I think no one has a chance in the Eastern Conference against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I will pick the Tampa Bay Lightning over anybody. I will pick them over my Bruins 1,000 times. I don't care that I'm a Bruins fan. I know the Bruins aren't great. They're a good team. They've played some good hockey. They're 8 and 2 in the last 10, but they are not nearly as good as the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yes, they did beat the Lightning that one game. I understand that, but they are not as good as Tampa Bay. In a 7-game series, Tampa Bay wins 99 out of 100 times. Okay? That's my take on the NHL right now. That's about it for hockey. I'm not too big into hockey. This next thing, I'm going to get heated. This is the NBA. I've been watching basketball. I've been watching Celtics games. I've been watching almost every single game that I can. I get up super early for work, so sometimes I can't. But I try to as much as I can. Tonight they play the Chicago Bulls. They won yesterday against the Pistons. But let's look at the NBA as a whole right now. What are some takes? What are some things you take from the NBA right now? What are some weird things? Okay. How the year started was weird. Okay. Of course, the big Gordon Hayward injury. You know, Cavs not playing well. The Pistons were number 2 for a while. They've clearly dropped. They're now 3-7 in their last 10, back at the 7 seed. The Knicks were playing great basketball. Kristaps Porzingis is trying to, get some votes for the MVP. Although it's looking like it's gonna be either LeBron, Kyrie, or Giannis Antetokounmpo right now. Or James Harden, of course. But the Eastern Conference is said to be the weaker conference, and I would agree with that. But I don't think they're as weak as everyone thinks. I really don't. The Celtics have proven that they are a great, not a good, the Celtics have proven they are a great basketball team. They went from 0-2 to 16-2 in less than a month. They put off 16 straight wins, okay? Then they lose, okay? Winning streaks don't last forever. We've seen that in every single sport, okay? They lose a game, and what do? They come right back and win. This team is so good. I'm gonna say in my opinion because people disagree with no matter what you say. You could say something that's very, very factual and people are gonna disagree with you. But this team is so good that I believe they have a shot. They have a shot, a fighter's chance to get into the NBA Finals. They are 23-5. They are 4 games ahead of the Raptors, 3.5 games ahead of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 19-8. They just rolled off 13 straight recently. Okay, but the reason I think the Celtics can beat the Cavs in the East Finals, okay, it's not so much that they're 23-5. It's not so much that Kyrie Irving is putting on a show in Boston, and I'm enjoying that show very much. Okay, the reason I think is because in a 7-game set, the faster, stronger team wins. You have to be fast and you have to be strong in basketball. Look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are old, they are slow at times, and to me they're injury prone. Okay, and I'm not just talking about Derrick Rose, because we all know Derrick Rose is injury prone. But I think D-Wade is out of his prime by far. Okay, by far. That's not even an argument. LeBron James, he's playing probably his best season so far. Okay, but I don't think he alone can bring this team to the finals because he doesn't have too many guys around him. I mean, you want to think he does. It's like, oh wow, Dwayne Wade. Oh wow, Kevin Love. I got Derrick Rose as my point guard. You look at that. If you were looking at that 5 years ago, you'd probably say this is the best team in the NBA. You look at it now, this team's too old. This team's too slow. They're not going to beat the Celtics in 7 games, but you know why people will still say they will? It's because they have, quote-unquote, the best player in the world. And I would say right now, he's looking like the best player in the world. LeBron James is amazing. He's a great basketball player. He's improved his shooting. 2 years ago, he was one of the worst shooters outside the paint in the league. He was dreadful. He's improved on that, and because he's improved on that, he's now a better scorer. Not a better scorer than Michael Jordan. Not a better scorer than Kobe Bryant. A better overall player than Kobe Bryant, not a better scorer. Okay, but he has improved his shooting, so I'm going to give him props and say right now, he is probably the best player in the world. Okay, he is the best player in the world right now because he's improved his shooting. Okay, a few seasons ago, I wouldn't have said that. He was not a very good shooter. I mean, if you weigh 270 or whatever he weighs, and you're 6'8", you can run and dunk on anybody. Doesn't matter who they are. You're huge. You're strong. And if you don't get the dunk, you're going to get fouled. And he's improved his free throw shooting as well. He used to be not a great free throw shooter. But no matter how good he is, I don't think he can propel the Cleveland Cavaliers past the Celtics because the Celtics are faster. They got better shooters in my opinion. I mean, you look at Jason Tatum, he's shooting better. He's got a better 3-point percentage than Steph Curry right now this season. Jason Tatum is amazing. He was a steal. Okay, number 3 in the draft. Looking back, when I was watching the draft, when they drafted Jason Tatum and not Josh Jackson before the season started, I was like, maybe should they have grabbed Jackson? I mean, it was iffy as to who they were going to grab, and I didn't love drafting Jason Tatum. I really thought Josh Jackson was the better player. But now, after watching Jason Tatum develop this quickly, shoot this well, pass the ball this well, play at this caliber, to me, the Boston Celtics are the best team in the East. I'm not going to quite say the league. I think the Rockets are a better team, and the Warriors are close. I think the Warriors are just a hair better than the Celtics. But right now, they are the best team in the East, and right now, they are my pick to get into the finals, not the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay? As for the rest of the Eastern Conference, I think this is how it's going to go down. I think it's going to be Celtics 1, Cavs 2. I think the Wizards they're gonna come back. I mean, they've had a rough start, 14 and 12. They haven't been great, but I think they're gonna come back at 3. Raptors 4, Bucks 5. Pacers look really good. Oladipo looks really good in Indianapolis, or Indiana. Sorry, I don't know why I said Indianapolis. In Indiana, but I don't think the Pacers are gonna keep this pace. No pun intended. I think the Pistons are going to grab that 6 seed, and then we'll probably say 76ers at 7, and I'm going to put the Pacers at 8. I don't think the Knicks are going to get in the playoffs. I don't think the Heat are going to get in, and Nets, Magic, Hornets, Hawks, Bulls. Obviously, they're not going to get in. So it's Celtics, it's the Cavs, it's the Wizards, it's the Raptors, the Bucks, the 76ers, the Pistons, and that's gonna be your playoffs right there for the Eastern Conference. And I am picking the Celtics. Okay, I don't think they're gonna choke. I don't think they're gonna slow down. They're gonna keep at this pace all year, and I think they're gonna get between 60 and 65 wins, which is more than you need to get first place in the Eastern Conference. Okay, they're playing beautiful basketball. We look at the Western Conference right now. It's the Rockets in first place at 20 and 4. Do I think they can finish the season in first? Yes, but I don't know if they will. Because right now you have the Spurs, who are 19 and 8, in third place without Kawhi Leonard. The Spurs, you can argue the Spurs are the best team in the league. When you put Kawhi Leonard on the Spurs, okay, they are amazing. I mean, they had a 20-point lead against the Warriors, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals last year. Kawhi Leonard gets hurt, and they get swept. Okay? Kawhi Leonard is the machine that pushes this team. He goes and he plays LeBron James, Kevin Durant caliber basketball. He is arguably the next LeBron James. And he's a better shooter, in my opinion. So, right now, the Rockets have the first seed. I don't think they're going to keep it. I think it's going to be Warriors 1, Spurs 2, Rockets 3, because Kawhi Leonard, I think, is set to return soon in the next couple weeks. I think. T-Wolves, 16 and 11, not bad, but I mean, this is where I question: is the East really worse than the West? Because you put these teams head to head. I mean, Pacers, I think, could beat the Nuggets in a series. The Wizards would beat the Nuggets, Blazers, Pelicans, Jazz, Thunder. They'd beat all of them in a series. I think besides the top, 3-4 teams, I think, teams like the Wizards and the Bucks could beat the rest of the Western Conference in a series. So, but anywho, Rockets 1, Warriors 2, Spurs 3, T-Wolves 4, Nuggets 5, Blazers 6, Pelicans 7, Jazz 8. I think the playoffs right now, I think it'll be those 8 teams minus the Pelicans. I'm going to put the Thunder there, and I'm going to tell you why. They've had a terrible start. They are 12 and 13 when they were supposed to be in the top 3 or 4 teams in this conference. Okay, Paul Pierce said they're gonna win the championship. That's a bit far stretched, but I thought they were pretty good. But they've had a rough start. I do think they're gonna come back. They're gonna play better basketball, but it's gonna be very, very difficult. I think they're going to, maybe squeeze into that fifth or sixth seed, just like last year, and, maybe get it to the second round. I do think they'll make the playoffs, though. So I think it's going to be Warriors 1, it's going to be Spurs 2, Rockets 3. I'll keep the T-Wolves at 4. Okay, I think the T-Wolves are a pretty good team. Excuse me. So T-Wolves at 4. Nuggets, I'm going to keep the Nuggets at 5. I think the Nuggets are a legit 5 seed. I mean, they will lose to the T-Wolves in a series, but I will keep the Nuggets at 5. I'll put the Thunder at 6, then the Blazers at 7, Jazz at 8, the Pelicans, bye-bye. You're not making the playoffs. So that's the NBA for you. I mean, there's not much else to say. I mean, if you want to look at the games that are on today, here are the games today. Kind of another slow day in the NBA. We got the Heat and the Grizzlies, Celtics, Bulls, Hornets, Thunder, which Thunder should win. I mean, you never know with this team right now. Pelicans, Rockets, Raptors, Clippers, Blazers, Warriors. So, not too bad. I mean, the Warriors are going to crush the Blazers. Rockets are going to, open the Pelicans' eyes. Really? I mean, I don't. I mean, they got Davis and Cousins, and they still can't win basketball games. I don't know what else the Pelicans can do. I think they need to try again, honestly. Trade Davis to the Celtics. That'd be nice. But then Celtics looking to pick up, back-to-back wins here. So that is the NBA. Now, I'm going to finish off this video with talking about Giancarlo Stanton and this ridiculous trade in the MLB between the Miami Marlins and the New York Yankees. And this is not coming from the Boston sports fan in me, the Red Sox fan in me. This is coming from the baseball fan in me, because I think this trade was just gross. I mean, you're trading, I'm pretty sure, wasn't Giancarlo Stanton the NL MVP? I just gotta double check. I want to make sure I'm, yeah, Giancarlo Stanton, 2017 NL MVP. Okay. You're trading the best player, arguably the best player in the National League, for what? What exactly are you getting? You're getting Starlin Castro and 2 prospects? Are you kidding me? Now, people want to throw out conspiracies and say, oh, Derek Jeter this, Derek Jeter that. Derek Jeter, he planned this whole thing. He's making trades for his former team. He wants to see the Yankees win. I don't believe that. I just think the Marlins are very stupid as an organization. No one goes to their games. They don't have many fans, so they know no one really cares. So they're going to make stupid moves like this and try and rebuild their team. They are in a rebuilding process. They have stated it many times. Everyone knows they're in a rebuilding process. And everyone also knew Giancarlo Stanton did not want to be a part of a rebuilding process. But here's the thing. If you're going to trade the best player in the National League, why don't you get something for it? Not Starlin Castro and 2 prospects. I mean, come on. Starlin Castro? He's good, but he's not Giancarlo Stanton good. If you're going to trade him to the Yankees, you better ask for Aaron Judge or Gary Sanchez. I don't care. I mean, this was just ridiculous. Giancarlo Stanton is amazing. He hit, 59 home runs? I mean, 59 home runs. Come on. They were in talks with San Francisco and St. Louis. They should have gone that direction. The Yankees didn't want to give up much because the Yankees knew they had a great team last year. Very unexpectedly a great team. And so the Marlins should have been like, well, we know they don't want to give up that much. We know that They had a great season. They don't want to give up, Judge or Sanchez. We should move on. No, we should try not trading with the New York Yankees because we're not going to get jack for it. And what happened? They got jack. Marlins got ripped off. And they know it. And I don't even think they care. Quite frankly, they don't care. They don't give a crap. This is one of the worst trades I've ever seen in my young life. This is terrible. And now next season, the Yankees, they're going to go out and they're going to have 3 guys in a row who can hit 30 plus home runs because Sanchez is a great power hitter as well. Imagine that. Sanchez at 3, Judge at 4, or no, Stanton at 4, Judge at 5. Imagine being the pitcher facing those 3 guys. Marlins made a mistake, but they don't care. That's just what I have to say about it. They're in the other league. They're in the National League. They don't even have to play the Yankees. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Miami Marlins simply just do not care. But everyone else does. Everyone else is looking at this and they're like, what? You got Castro and you got, what is this? Jorge Guzman and Jose Devers. Come on. One of the... What is this? Oh, sorry, I'm just reading something at the same time. Sorry. But, really? I think it's just a disgrace. I think it's terrible. And I know that the Miami Marlins don't give a crap. But, that's just me. I mean, we knew he was going to get traded for the most part. But we thought it was going to be like a blockbuster trade. Like, oh, wow, you're going to send him to St. Louis. Maybe you get, a couple great pitchers and a good power hitter with it. Oh, you're going to send him to the Giants? Well, try and get maybe Cueto and a couple other guys. No. They get Starlin Castro and 2 prospects for the best hitter in the National League, arguably baseball. Come on, Miami. Show some respect to this league and to everyone who watches it. That's just my take on it. I think I'm done. I'm done being upset about it. Let's see how it goes, I guess. But, that's that, really. I think I'm done here. And if you got through all, 48 minutes of me talking about nonsense, giving my opinion on crap. But, if you didn't make it this far, or if you skipped through the video, doesn't really matter to me. As long as you clicked on it, I'm happy that you were interested enough to click on it. Thank you for watching. This has been Sporting It All. I'm your host, Austin Moses. We'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.